Good day, fellow champions of inclusion. I am AA Ron, and this is the Inclusive Dad Podcast, where we explore inclusion and make it practical. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review the show on your favorite platform. We truly appreciate your feedback and would be honored if you shared the podcast with friends and family who might benefit. If you want to support us in our mission, please click on the link in the show description. Today, my guest is Michaell Magrutsche. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I love talking to you about what we will talk about. I can't wait.
Yeah, thank you so much. Why don't you start me off just telling me a little bit about yourself?
So, I was a sick child. I went to school with 7. I couldn't, I didn't know, 40 years ago, nobody, or 50 years ago, nobody cared about dyslexia or anything.
Yeah.
We were just unaware. People were not aware about this. So I'm not blaming and say, oh, the Austrian school system is horrible and blah, 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 blah. No, it just happened. They say, oh, you have dyslexia, but you still have to do the tests and you have to read and you have to speak. And I couldn't speak. I stuttered. And my only thing that I had was 6 years of school, and I had to repeat 2 of them to have the 6 years. So I graduated 6 years of school.
Okay.
So, but I wrote 8 books. I did over 400 podcasts in the last 2 years as a guest because of my very human-centric perspective. I made something out of my,
Right.
bad luck. but
Yeah.
it's actually good. I actually be happy to go through this because I learned a lot and I can help and make people aware. People have helped themselves, but I
Right.
can make them aware. You know,
Yeah, for sure. My first question is, what is your definition of inclusion?
it's natural. We don't even have to discuss it. It is nature made us 8 billion people, one of one, which is scientifically proven. You have a different DNA than I have. There's no 2 of you. There's no 2 of me. It's not gender, like woman, man, because woman can be harder than any man, and man can be softer than any woman. It's not a woman thing. It's not a gender thing. It's not an age thing, because you can learn from a kid, which you have learned so much from your kid, right?
Right.
You can learn so much more, exponentially more, than if you would just, have a lecture, about disability or anything. So, uh, and so we are all naturally inclusion. We are, and so when you say I'm for inclusion, actually, which is honorable that you are, but it's basically you're normal. There's nothing special about you. It's just a
Right.
normal thing. It's like when I
Right.
say, "Oh, the nonlinear," I'm an advocate for neurodiversity. So when I hear people say, "Oh, you're nonlinear thinking," no, nonlinear thinking is the normal thinking. System relevant thinking is the linear thinking, and we have to do linear thinking in systems so we all can communicate and
Right.
exchange. But people take it so seriously that their life they only be linear and binary, either or, where life is gray, which
Right.
and so we start doing this and say, oh my God, what so the nonlinear thinking is the normal thinking, the inclusion is the normal thing. That's human-centric. All that is human-centric. Inclusion 101, everybody is unique. But but system relevant reversed engineered is gender, race, age, disability. Uh, we have to put a name on it. But
Right.
humans cannot be named because they're 8 billion. So I cannot say, oh, you're like every woman. You can't. You're like every man. You know?
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense because when you're describing that, I mean, I feel like that's where a lot of my brain wants to do black and white, but it's also at the same time knows it's gray. So then they get these weird, yeah. Because for me, one of the big things is my daughter. So I have a 22-year-old daughter who has cerebral palsy and epilepsy. So I just attach labels to her. And for her to be able to get the services she needs in the current system, I mean, they need those labels from somebody to qualify her for those benefits. So I mean, that's a system, obviously. So I hate the label because I don't like them. But at the same time, in our current system like that, we need it to access the funding, the different
Yep.
resources to help take care of her. So so that's kind of my love-hate relationship with that kind of stuff. So that, I mean, that
And it's
makes a
all
lot of
right.
sense what you're saying.
It's absolute right thing, because there should never be even a question about your daughter.
Right.
There should never be a definition of your daughter. She's a human, and and nature doesn't make mistake. If you want to say I'm against nature and against God that created a 101,
Right.
and this is basically what they do when people don't, when they cannot adjust to the label to save times, to the systems to save times, then they need to be from system defined as something that is allowed to get some money. It should never be even allowed. Your daughter should have never even questioned what money she needs. Money is an invention. Money is a printed paper. It's not even covered by anything. What are we doing? This is the awareness education that I do. I said,
Right.
what are we doing? I mean, this is human. You want to say nature is wrong? Please say it. Please think that you are part of nature. You can never even judge
Right.
nature that is right or wrong, and or to say change the weather, do this, do that. You are part of nature, so you can't change that. And to say, oh, we're gonna make this all right, yeah, in the money realm, in the system realm, you make it right for you. But since we created the system and the money,
Right.
it's first us, and then we can talk about other. Look, nobody asks you to drive a Mercedes. If you want a Mercedes, you go to the system relevance and get a Mercedes. But if you need a shelter, if you need food, the right food for your daughter, not any food, the right food for your daughter, the right wheelchair for your daughter, it should not even be a question. When help, this is what I'm fighting currently. I'm not fighting it, I make people aware because I can't fight it. So when help is a business, it becomes a threat, a life threat, because help, because a system depends on financial principles. That is, it's never enough. So if you and I make $100,000, it's never enough. Tomorrow we need to make 120.
Right.
So when this help system is dependent on financial principles, it forces you to define your daughter. It forces you to tell me one disabled person that wants to say, that loves that disabled. I've never found one person. When you help a person in a wheelchair, they say, get away. Because they're so shamed already from the system that they are different. They're not, they're supposed to be. And this is the big lie. Nobody can be the same. We
Right.
cannot be the same. We can pretend that we're all the same, but we are not the same.
Yeah.
We are 8 billion one of one. And that's why I always say one of one, because unique is also, it's already all dirtied. You know, it's like God is dirtied, nature is dirtied, everything is dirty. We dirty up and make system, we tweak the words, the system words, you know, make system words out of it. God meant something, and it doesn't mean anything anymore, you know, because everybody uses it. Love doesn't mean anything anymore, you know, it's just, we use these words, and disability is from the systems also to save money. They make the example, they show you the example on the news. They say, look, these are disabled, the daughters, they make $8,000 a month and blah, blah, blah. It's not true. I have not seen this, exception of the rule. It's like the migrants get all the money and everything. No,
Yep.
they show you the couple of migrants. Also, who started the migration? Who? A war. If we wouldn't be involved in other wars, we wouldn't have migration, you know? So
Yeah. So I mean, these are very large. I mean, big. I mean, I guess complicated concepts. Like for me, thinking like how can I? What's something I can do today to like maybe change my mindset around that, or not be
you're
super
doing it.
frustrated with
You're
everything.
doing you're doing it. You're
Okay.
doing it right now. That's the only thing that I think what helps tremendously in terms of thinking and get your mindset right is, a mindset is also consciousness. Basically, mindset is also a disturbed word. It is because it's have your mindset as a postman, have your mindset as a uh, investor, have a mindset. It's just systemic again. It's segregation. It's the consciousness, you know, in that, you know, you have knowledge and then you have mindset. And so knowledge is this very system relevant things, you know, oh, if I have to do this first, then this, it's linear, right? It's this, then I have to. And the mindset is when to know what to do at what time, but basically the consciousness in that realm, in that culture. So basically, the awareness, you do the awareness because you talk. The podcast is such a blessing that we have, because we couldn't have an interview 3 hours with the president. We could never listen to learn who that person is.
Right.
And I'm not Republican or Democrat, but I'm saying this is you people, if they're interested. Let's say I have a disabled daughter, I would listen to your podcast and say, how does he do it? Not that I'm copying you, because your disability of your daughter is different than mine. She's a 101 and I'm a one. My daughter is a 101. So, but I'm saying, oh, he has a female too, so I can look how they deal with it and learn from it. And this is really awareness, not knowledge. Because you're not a doctor, I'm not a doctor. We are not specialists or anything. But the awareness of the experience, and the highest form of knowledge is when I share with you my life experience and you with yours, because it will be sharper. Our perception of life experience will be manifested stronger. And then we say, oh, I'm not crazy. I think, you self-doubt, because the system constantly is so outdated. It constantly tries to manipulate it to go in another way. And it isn't.
So do you think that us as humans are ever going to overthrow the system somehow?
Not overthrow it, update it. You can't. We created it. I'm a very pro system. We want to update it and be conscious enough that, okay, I'm pregnant. Okay, I am dying. We got to do something. Can we do something? Not waiting till we die. Not waiting till, we give a child without anything. Oh, I'm just having a big belly. Oh, okay, just have a baby. This is not. We need to be conscious that we need to update. And you see, Elon is already, want to look, but that's not the right thing either, because you need to not cut costs. That is not the problem, because that's an illusion anyway. Money is created in our minds. What we need to do is saying, what is the human-centric thing of, okay, we need to take care of, every human has a right to be, because nature made us that. And our fit is not how we can all do the same, but how we can synergistic. I bet your daughter is phenomenal in one or two or three things that she could use and think. I've worked with, I'm an advocate for neurodiversity, so I'm talking to neurodivergent people all the time. And I wrote 3 white papers on dyslexia alone, how to get a job, how to handle the people. Because out of my experience, and experiential knowledge is so much more thing than scientific knowledge, because scientific knowledge is on statistics. Statistics always break down. It's the intent of what you do as statistics. So we need that. I'm saying we need science, but it needs to interact with the human centricity. We're not saying, oh, how can we make a thing that works? Nature, how we can do something that is like nature in chemical. Just no. Study nature, copy that, and make something natural. Don't make something. So what they call pharmaceuticals, neuroceuticals. Neuroceuticals are the taking nature for certain diseases. So for your daughter, using nature, studying nature and doing something. But again, the money cuts that down. So our really is it's never enough. And what's important to really see, when it's never enough, this is why we're all running around like crazy. There's only one option that is allowed: cut costs. Because there's no opposite. See, hot, cold, right, wrong, good, bad. So when it's never enough, what is enough? There's no, what you can do, there's enough. You are human, that's enough. You are here on earth, that's enough.
Right.
But systems don't look at that like that. They don't look at that like that. And so we have no opposite. So we have actually two. So you're not only, it's never enough no matter what we do, Aaron. If we do the biggest company right now, they have $1 million, we need to make $2 million in next year.
Yep.
But we have other things. We have saying the opposite of that, which is the real bad thing. We have to cut costs. And when we have to cut costs, because every system has a noble intent. We want to take care of the horses for the tribe, right? We want to really take care of the horses. We get them blankets, we get them the right food, blah, 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 blah. And now we can't scale anymore because it says You got to scale to make more money, and we
Yep.
can't scale anymore. Now, what we have to do, cut costs. And when we cut costs, guess who gets less cared for? The horses.
Yeah.
And the people that paid you to take care of the horses don't get the thing anymore. So the healthcare system cannot think. That's why there's so much event, because the people are not, because they're afraid. They're afraid because they're not conscious, because they blame things. Oh, it was his fault. No, it was nobody's fault. You're just unconscious. And this is why it's up to us to make people aware. There's a human-centric point on everything. I mean, I talked about human centricity to lawyers, doctors, accountants, real estate agents, everybody in the world, because there's always a human-centric perspective. And that's why I said it's so helpful to separate human-centric, system relevant. System relevant, you can't do a lot, but human-centrically you can, which then will lead you to a solution for system relevance.
Good. So, like, let's say the system, education system,
Oh, I
how
love that.
can that be more? How can we make that more like human centric? You think versus the system?
I'm working on an education worldwide right now on an education, because that's where it starts. We're so good.
Yeah.
See, we always see, this is why it's so good. You say the same thing and the same intent that I say. I say, where does it all start? Education. When did education start really to be system relevant, like the strengths that it is? In the Prussian army, it was for boys only. 1845, boys only, Prussian army, to get them sorted. Hey, that guy is good with horses. That guy is good shooter. That guy thinks great thing, is a good medic, whatever. Today we are co-ed. We have computers. We have the internet, and we have AI. So I'm asking the question, and nobody answers, by the way. I had one answer yesterday. It was the first one that could answer it, the Canadian. What is the function? What do we want as the function of education today, where we have co-ed, where we have computers, where we have the internet, where we have AI, and where systems, we have technology is so much updated. It's like technology is more updated than us 400 times.
Yeah.
That's why we get to this pivotal point where we are afraid of technology, because we have updated technology and not ours. Our awareness is we are not aware. So what happens is, this is really interesting. It's when we can't, we have to be real aware of, this is my neurodiversity. It's just going all over. But I'm not a thing. I'm not, I'm not embarrassed about it. When I stutter, I stutter. I can never get out of the stutter. In school, I stuttered all the time. So we have to be, asking the technology what we want. So what is new human-centric? So how can, I made 4 papers on that, 6 papers on with questions. I have 280 or 300 questions, human-centrically, how we could use AI. And we need to, not saying, oh, what are the 8 people that run AI, the technology companies, giving us to buy because it's financial, it's nothing. No, what can we do with that ability with a knife? Okay, there's a knife. Somebody invented a knife. Is that here? And this is how they promote it. Oh, this knife could kill people. No, it's the human that kill people. So how can we use that technology for humanity? And it's about the humanity that's why we're doing anything, why we're living. We're making money to live, not we're making money to have money. We're making money to live and experience this reality. But when we came to a point where the beggar and the billionaire both think 70% about money, and if you say, yeah, that's life, that's what you have to do. Most people say that you have to do that. No, you don't. We have abundance. You think the nature made us so that we have to struggle? Everybody has to struggle, and no, animals. Yeah, they get killed, they get whatever, but the animals are not struggling.
Right.
They're just adapting. They're just going through life.
Yeah. You're really making me think. I like it. Yeah, it's interesting.
I trigger all what you know already. I didn't teach you a thing. I didn't. It's just it. I seed you and said, "Hey, you're not stupid if you think in that direction."
Yeah.
That's basically what I do. I basically say it's not stupid to think your daughter is really, because you experience your daughter as a phenomenal
Yep.
being, right?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why she is that way. And if I want to be 6'8", I'm not 6'8", so I don't need to even think about that. I am what I am, and that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, that's always the thing. I am who I am, and that's enough. And so that is enough by nature. It's not in the system. I mean, I have no super job to be system relevant, but I am what I am, and that's my perspective. And you know,
Yeah, it's very interesting because I mean, like I've talked about before, like the label piece. So
yeah,
and she's in she was in special education, so that
yeah,
involves testing to figure out levels and that kind of stuff. And based on her abilities, she was never able to test because of how the tests have to be
yeah,
performed to, to get a actual score. So they'd always test her, and the numbers they would come back with were always way lower than what I felt like she was able to do. So just this constant, that's the system that we need for her to get the services again. But then, they're testing her at this, and I'm like, she'll say a sentence with a word in it I've never heard her use before, and it's completely in context. And I'm like, okay, so that what they're telling me test wise doesn't make sense. So I have this constant where the system says one thing and I see something that doesn't jive. So yeah, that happens to me all the time, and that's makes a lot of sense.
yeah. You know what? And this is actually for your viewers to look at. And transparency is the most important. And humans usually are transparent, but systems are not.
Yep.
I was tested in February. This February, I was tested. I was 2 points above a retarded person. I don't even know what my nerds. I couldn't remember what the right thing is. I was 2 points above, which also my life experience shows.
Right.
I couldn't be system relevant. I couldn't fit in
Right.
school or whatever. I wrote 8 books. I
Yep.
worked with Robert Evans, who did The Godfather. He invited me to work with him.
Right.
I was an arts commission of a city,
Yep.
and where six people of seven voted for me. You know, and then when I actually ran for that city, when I did the thing, I worked on food stamps.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. The money doesn't matter.
Right.
It is your contribution to humanity. That's why I said we have to stick together. You know, we have to all exchange, talk, and be and say we are not lost. We are not lost.
Right.
We created system. We can update them. Tell me, we can't. We created them. Why can't we update them? And say, hey, we weren't conscious of that. I mean, if I would have said, if they would have said today, with after this test, oh, you're normal, like they did 50 years ago, it would be a different thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, so why do you think, like, let's just, since I'm talking about education, why do you think we haven't fixed the education system?
Because that's what systems think. Bureaucracy is band-aiding, because bureaucracy holds on to what works and then band-aids around. And that's why there's so many theories and books written about bureaucracy, that even if you try to get rid of bureaucracy, you create more, because the people want to hold on to what has worked, want certainty, and there's no certainty in life. You know, you can just jump off something right now or whatever. Or me, we could have both an explosion, whatever, and be done. There is no certainty. You know, we gotta lean into that. There is no certainty in life, and when we do that, then the education, it has not changed, because it was in our feeling essential that we need that to be system relevant, to make money. So when it was more and more important that you had money, not that you do chickens, that you get carpenter or anything, but that you have money. Then people thought, okay, if I put him in the, which is a very good, noble thought. It is a perfect thought.
Yeah.
If I want to go into the army, in the Persian army, 1845, absolutely great thing. I'm get sorted. I'm not going to be the digger, you know, and the sharpshooter digs holes, and we can never win a war. So it's absolutely perfect for that time. But nobody goes in the thing unless you're in West Point. Nobody goes into an army, and we have co-ed, and we have computers, and we have internet, and we have AI. So what? That's why I'm asking the question. Nobody answered, and I answered the question for you. I said, if I want education, I would ask for education today, since the system is 400 times, I told you, more advanced in evolution. I would do this, that it is first teaching us what it is to be human. What it is to be human is best taught in group art and group sports. Group sports, the masculine, the organization skill, and feminine is the art creation, where a man can play a woman, or you know, or you just do something and you pretend to be, you know.
Sure.
So, and what my thing is to start early with that, and then give. I even would do before school. You start to have this school, which is group sport, groups thing, and having an empath, because you need to interact with something that isn't physical, that is not systemically already with language and everything. Having a pet, and then the awareness. So when the artist saying, "Oh, it's too violent, the sport," or whatever, you can do the dresses, design the dresses. You can do to be the water boy. You can be the referee.
Right.
You can be the scorekeeper. You don't have to fight. You don't have to be a quarterback or running back. And the same in theater. In theater, hey, I need a 65-year-old woman, and she knits. Oh, the quarterback is the only one that has no room because he can't act. You just pretend. We put a wig on you and you pretend it, and then the awareness about it. And we're talking about the awareness, and this way you learn. You know, you learn. The quarterback even said, "I never thought I will have fun with this because I judge it as, you know, systemically, that's for girls, blah 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 blah." And all of a sudden, it was fun. I saw that I can pretend to be a master of the universe, and I'm 6 years old.
Yeah.
So the awareness that the kids get from what it is to be human, and it's all intermixed. It is no, oh, you're the jock. We need to treat you differently. No, and it's funny because I have talked to a lot of quarterbacks and a lot of school cheerleaders and stuff, to talk to them and interview them. They don't feel special, even though they're treated special. Their ego can say they're special, but they're not really feeling special, because I said, do you think, and they all have the thing that they are special. This is our uniqueness, right? That we are one of one. Like your daughter has that too.
Right.
She's like, her awareness says, I'm one of one, not because I'm sick. But see, when you make the sickness more important, when you make the quarterback more important, then, and I don't know any human that has never felt I'm special. Not special, you're unique. And that's a natural thing. It's the same thing. We want to belong to people. That's the DNA drive. That's why in adolescence, when we separate from parents and go into the world, we want to belong to the stupidest groups, because at least we belong. And that's DNA driven.
Yeah. What is one tip you can share with to help the listeners be more inclusive today? Just something simple they can start doing today to be more inclusive.
Oh, I would say just really start entertaining the thing that nature made you one. And unless you say nature makes mistakes, I think it should be automatically shifting you, making you aware. Why did the question? Ask yourself, why are you 101? Why? Why did nature make you 101? Nobody decided that you're that person, that you're dyslexic, or that you sit in a wheelchair or whatever. Nobody decided that. It made you 101. It is. And why did it make you 101? And why is it enough to be who you are? Tell me why it's not enough that you are not who you are. But then you would say nature and God is wrong. You would literally blaspheme everything that is. There's no discussion about it, and that you are part of nature, and not that you're separated from nature. So you can learn a lot from nature. That's why I have the pet interaction. Even if you have a goldfish, you interact with that goldfish. You don't need to have a dog that is trained or whatever. No, you can have that too, but it's an interaction with another living being, also from nature. You're both part of nature, and just put it in that context versus want to be. Yeah, that's what you do. If you want to be a lawyer, make sure there is a human-centric intent behind it.
That's great. Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't discussed?
Whatever you ask, I can talk for 200 hours if you want. So
yeah, no, I mean, this
we
has
can
been
do
really
this again, Aaron. We can do this again. Don't worry. Don't worry with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was actually thinking that because you got me really thinking. So I need to probably process some of this, and then we could probably do it again and have a different discussion. Yes. I got one more or a couple more. Do you like spam? Yes or no?
I don't even know how it tastes. I've eaten spam, but I don't know how it tastes.
Okay. Yeah, it's just yes. You've never had it, or you said you did have it.
I think I might have had it, but I have no idea if I liked it or not.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I asked that question because I live in Austin, Minnesota, where they make spam and where the Spam Museum is located. So if you ever want to visit the Spam Museum, you have to come to Austin, Minnesota. So
I'm going with you.
Sounds good. Where do you live?
I'm living in Laguna Beach.
Okay.
And I'm living in the Black Dots Cafe. No, I'm living in Laguna Beach, and for 46 years. I lived also in New York. I lived in Westwood. I lived in Newport Beach. I lived so many, but always in this area draws me back to Laguna Beach.
Awesome. Where's the best place for everybody to connect with you?
MichaellM.com.
Okay.
Is the best place, so you know my last name, and then you can put that into YouTube or because there's 200, 300 episodes of me talking about different things, about everything. You want to talk about the law, you want to, and all in this human-centric perspective. As far as I know, I'm the only one that has a pure human-centric perspective and can literally take whatever you throw at me, I can take. I can make, I said, the human-centric perspective. What should law do, to humans? Oh, they're not general. They're not, everybody is one. So we have to update those two. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Aaron. It was a real pleasure, and I really enjoyed it because I think I spoke well because of you. And I just, even if you didn't talk a lot, you allow me to. Our mastermind dictates us. We can fight against it. That would be like I'm better than you, or you are better than me. But when we dance, and you obviously your daughter has taught you to dance human-centrically, she challenged you and she made you a better person, a more human person, because she challenged you. So it's beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you. To all of you listening, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Inclusive Dad Podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, rate, or review the show. Your feedback helps us connect with more champions of inclusion. Remember to share this podcast with friends and family who might benefit. If you want to support us in our mission, please click on the link in the show description. Together we can make the world more inclusive.
Yes.
Until next time, stay empowered and be a champion for inclusion.
Yes. Which is normal.